Hi guys!
What's up?
Welcome to part 3, non-command sponsored, coming here to Osan Air Base. This video is going to be about when you arrive here. First off, I want to say, hi, I'm Tiffany.
And I'm Christian.
And we have a 3-year-old daughter named Presley who's out there in the living room hanging out. We are a military family. We are a Air Force family. The Hubs is the active duty member, and we are currently stationed here at Osan Air Base in South Korea. And our channel is Our Camo Color Life. If you're new, welcome. We hope you stick around and enjoy all these videos of us and our journey through military life. And if you're not new and you're still sticking around, you're awesome. Thank you so much. We love your support.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hi guys, really quick, we want to just say disclaimer.
Disclaimer.
We don't know everything, okay?
Yes.
So everything that we are telling you guys about is just our experiences. So
everything's personal. Rules and regulations are always changing. Your experience might be different. Your mileage may vary. So take all of our information in these videos with a little bit of grain of salt because things are different.
Things are always changing. Yeah. So our videos are just here to help you out in case our information helps you. That is it.
Get on with the video.
Yeah. Enjoy these videos, guys. So first things first, we want to talk about quarantine when you arrive. Quarantine.
Quarantine.
The long 2 weeks.
Yeah. So you just landed in the airport in Korea. You just went through immigration. You just went through customs. You're tired. And now you're like, now what? So I don't know if things might change later on or down the road. You might have to start paying for it yourself. But for us, there was a shuttle for free that took us to Osan because we contacted our sponsor and let them know that when we were arriving and that I was arriving with my family, there was basically, they had us on their list to transport us to Osan. So there's a little military desk and they should basically hand walk you the entire way through the airport from station to station like we were talking about, and then you'll end up there at that last station where you'll get bused to Osan straight to your TLF or Tarumi, wherever they have you staying at. You shouldn't have to do any of that process.
If you haven't watched our PCSing to Korea video, go ahead and click on it right here. It's a pretty good video, or right here, somewhere up here. It's a pretty good video. It basically shows like every step that we basically took that we were allowed to record.
Yeah.
We recorded it all. Through all of our exhaustion, we still managed to like record everything for you guys. So you'll see us like on the airplane, him filling out the paperwork. You'll see the kind of food that we got on the airplane for breakfast, and I believe it was dinner.
We had breakfast and dinner, yeah.
And then walking through the airport, every little stop that we were having to make, like going through immigration and all that, like the parts that we were allowed to record, we recorded a little bit of it.
Yeah. And
then us getting onto the shuttle, and then like arriving to our quarantine. And then we have quarantine videos as well, so if you want to go check those out, you can. Yeah.
And so you'll most likely quarantine in the TLF if there's space available there for you. And they're a little bit different, so you should have like a little kitchenette, and like she said, we'll walk you through those quarantine dorms that we stayed in. We can't comment on any other ones because we didn't stay there. But yeah, quarantine, some things to bring. Definitely bring entertainment, like we said in the last one. Like to bring in your luggage, bring some entertainment. We brought our Fire Sticks so we could stream some movies like Netflix and Amazon Prime, Hulu. All that stuff works out here to an extent. Video games, if you want to bring video games, board games, things for your kids to stay busy. For quarantine, you'll first get tested like the day after you arrive. So day one is actually the day after you arrive. So the day you arrive is day 0. You'll get tested the very first day after you arrive, and then after 48 hours after your negative test is when you finally get to go outside.
48 hours later, guys.
After you get the results back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have videos showing that in the quarantine dorms too, or the TLF, of what the outside area looks like. It's basically just a small little jungle gym park for the kids and like a smoke pit. But yeah, it's nice.
And it's sad because, you know, yeah, our daughter wanted to go out there and play, but the kids are not allowed to play together. So if she was playing on the playground and another family came, we had 15 minutes from the time that other kids showed up to play and then wipe it all down, which I don't know if the rules are still the same, but at that time we brought wipes and stuff, and we would wipe down the playground and then we would leave and the next family could come in and play.
Yeah.
And that's just how you would rotate, you know, sharing the outside time. And our daughter, after a while, didn't want to play outside anymore because there was no kids to play with. She wanted to play with kids, so it was kind of boring after a while. So outside
time. We try to make it fun for her, but
yeah,
yeah,
a little rough when you don't have siblings or friends to play with.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind too. I mean,
as for food, you can order out from all of the places on base. There's a good amount of options. You can order from anywhere in the BX. There's Checker Tails, there's the bowling alley, and they all deliver. There's Chili's, and they have menus inside the TLF of all of that stuff. And there's a menu on like
there's an app too, right?
Yeah,
or
there's a website. I think that's how we ordered some of it. It's like the website for AFES, something BX.
Also, another group for you guys to join, which came in super handy, is the OSUN Quarantine Support Group. And it's on Facebook. And again, I will put the link down below in the description box for you guys so you can just click on it and ask to join the group. Super helpful, you guys. Speaking of food, you can also place commissary orders. So I believe that one was through the app though, right? That one was.
I think there was an app, for that one that you had to order it through. I know it's been not even that long, we still remember.
We were just glad to be out of there.
Yeah.
Forget it all, just erase it, go out of our memory, go away.
But you'll put in an order, and it's all done through volunteers and amazing people. And they'll try to contact you in some way. You'll basically just make a little shopping list for them, and they'll try to contact you in some way, and they'll be like, okay, how can I contact you or call you in the store? And then when it's time to pay, they just hand the phone over to the cashier, and then you tell them your credit card or debit card number, and then they'll punch it in, and then you're good to go. And they'll take it to the dorms or to the TLF that you're staying in, and they'll leave it right outside,
and then let you know that it's there. And then you just run out there real quick, grab your food, and come right back up.
Yep, and we have some videos of that too when we were in quarantine, so pretty awesome people doing that.
I know that sometimes it was a little complicated to like figure out the apps and stuff like that. That's why I say definitely like look into these groups, because you can ask questions on there and they can kind of like guide you through it and walk you through it and kind of help you out in that way. Sometimes they can actually try to get someone to help get you stuff that you need if nobody's available, like any volunteers and things like that. Sometimes people will just like step up and help you out.
Or if you don't have any kind of good sponsor.
If you don't have a sponsor that is available to you.
Yeah. So while you're in quarantine, you can start looking into certain things. Talking to realtors or housing. The way that works out here is a little bit different. So each realtor will be in control or will have a certain amount of properties that they can show you, apartments. Just tell them what you're looking for, be honest and be straightforward. We were looking for something that was in walking distance, and it was a little bit hard because right now everyone's being kicked off base. So they're kicking everyone off base as low as E4 if they're going to be here for a little bit. And
it literally started the moment that we were getting out of quarantine.
Yeah, well, it started, So all the apartments that we could afford and that were close by were being taken up by a lot of the younger single people, and there weren't many options for us.
There were basically zero options for us.
We went to, I think, 6 different realtors, and
in the same day.
Yeah, so we actually waited until after quarantine to start looking for a place, which probably was our mistake. But the thing is, if you were to start looking into that sort of thing before you're in quarantine, it's going to have to be sight unseen, or you're going to have a really good sponsor to hook you
or
up
a
with some
friend,
things like
somebody that you trust that
Yeah.
can do that for you.
Otherwise, you're going to have to wait until you're out of quarantine.
Which is what we had to do.
Yeah, so we were left with almost nothing. We're still happy to get what we got, and we got a decent place. But
so yeah, after quarantine, we went to
the
TLF, right?
Oh no. So after quarantine, we went to Tarumi.
Tarumi, sorry,
Yeah.
yes, we went to Tarumi, and then literally that same day, I think we went out and started going to realtors, and like you said, we went to 6 different realtors, and there was nothing available, you guys. Literally, like, we went to see one place, which is the one that we're living in now, and everything else was that we would have loved wouldn't be available for another like 2-3 weeks. And we were like, we didn't want to wait that long. We'd already been like traveling forever, and then quarantine for 2 weeks. We didn't want to put any more money out to stay in another hotel for that long. So we already put money out. You know, you're coming here non-command sponsored. You're paying out of pocket for all these things. The last thing you want to do is stay in a hotel again for an additional 2 weeks or 3 weeks. You know.
So unfortunately, we got stuck with a little bit less.
Yeah. So we settled for this place, which, like you said, we're not like complaining. It's good. It works out. Like, we're happy.
It's definitely something that you can start looking into while you're in quarantine.
So just keep that in mind.
Yeah. Start asking realtors or setting up appointments, however you can figure that out. We didn't do that, so we can't really advise you too much on that. But the next thing is housing. So after you do actually find a place that you're going to stay off base, since you're not command sponsored, by the way, you cannot stay on base. That is another benefit that you do not get. You're going to have to stay off base.
So, sorry. Something I wanted to mention, he was talking about we were looking for a place within walking distance. Our place is still obviously within walking distance. Currently, they are working on the gate. So the main gate, correct, is what's closer to our house. And right now we can walk through it, but there is no driving through it because they're working on it, unfortunately. So he can't even scoot through there anymore to go to work. I can walk there, obviously, if I'm going to go to like story time or the commissary or the BX or whatever. I can walk there, I can walk back home easily. But if you're thinking of like getting a scooter and going through that way, it might take you a little longer because you have to go to the other gate to get to drive onto base now. And it'll be that way at least until October as far as we know. So that is just something we wanted to maybe put out there in case you are looking for something that you can drive through and be closer to base as well.
So if you are living off base, you are authorized to have a car. But one thing I wanted to mention too is before you actually do start signing leases and stuff like that, make sure you get your housing briefing. So go to the housing office. So I think it's like every weekday at 08 or something like that in the morning. Go to your housing briefing. They'll talk about all the stuff that you should look for in an apartment and in the lease and all the stuff that they're not allowed to do and all the stuff, all the benefits that you get and OHA and everything like that in that briefing. So go to that first, then sign a lease, then go back to housing office, send them, shoot them an email or a phone call or whatever and set up an appointment. And then they'll look over the lease with you and they'll tell you all the paperwork that you need to bring, like your orders and stuff like that. And then that'll start your OHA. So you won't get OHA until you sign a lease, until you have your appointment with the housing office. Okay, so before we came here, we weren't sure if we were gonna like be able to live off base. And so the way it used to work in the past is anyone below, I think it was E7, was forced to live in a dorm room on base. And if you came non-command sponsored, your family could live off base, but you still had to maintain a dorm room or get an ETP letter signed by the commander. Currently, since I did make staff sergeant, I was able to live off base without having to go through all that because they're making all the staff sergeants and E5 start to live off base. So we didn't have to go through that whole process about trying to do an ETP. So we didn't have to worry about me having to do an ETP or live in a dorm or anything like that. We were able to just live off base pretty smoothly. But if that changes again because of COVID, because they don't need quarantine dorms anymore, and they start making people live in dorm rooms, just look into that. Maybe ask your sponsor or your command that you're going into what you're going to need to do to live off base.
Okay, so another thing that you're going to have to do once you're out of quarantine is get your SOFA stamp. So your SOFA stamp is basically a visa through, is it through military?
It's via the Korean government. It's called a State of Forces Agreement. So basically, Korea has an agreement with the United States that says as long as I'm here, she's allowed.
I'm allowed to stay here with him for the amount that he's here. So so you can do that. The spouse of the military member can go do that by herself. You don't need him, but they needed his information. It was very strange because okay, so I had to call him and message him, and I was able to just get like, what was it, your ID number?
So I think they kept trying to say what was my DOD ID and like that you needed my ID
It was different
card.
in the system for some reason.
But that wasn't all they really needed was my DROs and like a copy of my orders. I don't know why they were trying to ask for everything else.
For some reason, they had the day that we got here mixed up with the day of his report date.
My DROs.
DROs, yeah.
But I mean,
So,
it's similar, but
either way, just have all his information, maybe like a picture of his ID in your phone, like have him send you a picture of his ID.
If you guys can go together, that's probably a little bit easier.
It's probably easier if he can go with you. Another thing is he can just go.
Yep.
And if you have kids and you don't want to drag them over there, just send him, because you don't need to be there with him. He can go do it by himself.
It just saved time for us at the time.
Because I think you were at work already, right?
I was at work and I was trying to get my line badge so that I could work on the flight line.
Yeah.
So we were doing two different things at the same time.
So I figured I'll just go and get our SOFA stamps and just get that out of the way. And it worked out. It did work out, you guys, but it was a little complicated, like I said. But it worked out. So you can probably figure it out, go and do it. Or just have your honey do it for you. Another thing you're gonna have to get is your rations card. So that is basically gonna allow you to shop at the base exchange and also at the commissary. Make sure you get that, okay? Because I knew we had to have it, but I don't know what happened. Like, I went to the commissary one day, not really thinking anything of it, and I got in perfectly fine by just showing basically my military ID, right?
Yeah. So
I got in because they'll check your ID at the commissary when you first walk in. So she just said, okay, looked at my ID, let me in. So I'm in, and then I'm shopping, and then I get to the register, and they ask for my rations card, and I'm just like, at the time, I really didn't even know what it was. I heard of it, and I was just like, I was like, here's my ID,
I think another thing too is like we forgot, and every time that we had to go shopping, we went together.
He was with me.
So we don't need a rations card because for me, you just need your your CAC ID. So we never needed it until that one day, and then we needed it.
And then I was just like, it was my first time ever like really going shopping, I guess, here without him. And she was just like, and I didn't have it, and she was like, well, how'd you get in here? And I was just like, I just showed her my ID, and so luckily,
You're not allowed.
Yeah, I was so scared, you guys. I was like, I don't know. So they took our groceries. Luckily, it wasn't a lot. They put it to the side. I was like, please don't put them back, because my husband luckily had just got off of work. So he met me there, and he was able to go back in with his ID and just had them scan his ID and then get our stuff. So make sure you get your rations card, you guys,
Long
because
story short,
they will not let you shop without a rations card. You will not get your groceries.
And to get your ration card, all you need is your orders. I think the active duty member does have to be the one that does that one. So you need your orders. You need all the or her passport.
Yeah.
And I think her ID. But anyways, it's to get it, it's located at the Pass and ID office, ran by Security Forces.
And he does have to be there for that.
Yep.
That one he will have to do for you.
I'm pretty sure that I have to be there. The active duty member has to be there to get that one for.
So basically, what a ration card is,
it limits how much you can spend per household. So per person, I think our limit at the commissary is something like $800 a month.
It's a crazy high amount.
It's a lot of money.
I don't think anybody ever reaches that limit.
And it also limits your alcohol. It's to prevent duty-free privilege abuse. So since you're not paying taxes on base, and they don't want you to sell stuff or I guess abuse that system. Anyways, that's a ration card. Don't forget to get it as soon as you can. Do it.
Learn from our mistakes. Okay?
Last thing we're going to talk about is vehicles. So like I said earlier, if you're living off base, you're allowed one vehicle. If you are command sponsored, I think you're allowed two, but you shouldn't need to because Korea is a really tight, compact country. Especially this area, like right outside the main gate, is very, very tight and compact and a little bit hard to drive through. So if you are thinking about getting a vehicle, you definitely can. You're gonna have to get your license, which is just like I think it's a computer-based training, like a computer slideshow you have to go through and test. And
we don't know about people like transferring their cars here either,
Yeah.
so that's something we can't really tell you guys about. Maybe that's something you guys can ask about in the group pages as well.
Yeah.
So.
But you have to register your car. All of this is in the Pass and ID office where you get your rations card. But I just have my scooter, which I never had to register or get a license for. It's just a little electric
here's the money,
scooter.
and they said here's your scooter.
And then you
Have fun.
You can buy those at the BX or on Facebook from other people because tons of people have them. If you're working on a flight line, it's definitely handy to have it because you don't have to walk from the ECP to the flight. Anyways.
Long story short, we sold our cars at our previous base and then just came here with no car. He got a scooter. Like you said, everything is pretty close. We take taxis, we take the bus, we take the train.
Public transportation in
Public
Korea is
transportation.
super solid. So we're just decided not to get a car for the year that we're here.
All right, that ends our part 3 video, and we hope you enjoyed this non-command sponsored coming here to Osan Air Base series. So if you have any questions, please go ahead and put them down below. Part 4, we will answer all your questions from part 1, 2, and 3. Take care, and we will see you guys in the next one. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Peace out, guys. Bye.
Make you smile, always make you smile. We're a little messy. Always make you smile, always make you smile.